Hey everybody, it's Cindy Daychuck with Queen Bee Creations. Thanks for tuning in and joining me today. I've been dying to do this. I have never done an Easter wreath. Seems weird. I don't know why. I don't know what's taken me so long, but I am going to fix that today. We're gonna get started on putting together an Easter wreath. And I'm going to do it using Deco mesh because it's so bright and colorful and really, you know, it's Easter. You get to use some really fun colors and things. So I have a Deco mesh, which is a plastic mesh that's in these, let me open this up. Okay. Now you can get Deco mesh at any of your local craft stores. Here, my local one would be Michael's. They are a little bit pricey. I've picked mine up online. I'll drop in a link. I get nothing from these links, but just so that you know places that I have purchased them from online. But I will say that sometimes you find rolls of these in the thrift stores, in which case I grab them. And then I just integrate them in, brings down the cost of my wreath substantially. I haven't found a great wholesale location, so if anybody knows any, let me know, because then I could do classes on this. But you know, if you're making them for yourself, for friends, for family, and things, then you know, check out some of the locations that I've given you. This stuff, because it's plastic, you know, and it's in mesh, you can cut with scissors. So you can do scissors and kind of cut. What you want to try and do is go kind of straight in between a lot of the lines. Easiest thing to do is, it's plastic so it melts. Take a wood burning tool, which is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to show you. Now, to get started, I have the Deco mesh. I have the wreath form, so it's just a metal wreath form. I like the ones that have the 4 rims on it. Just, it gives me more options in terms of placement and sizing and that sort of thing. This one is, well, this is 12 inches to there, so probably 14 inches. Yeah, it's about 14 inches in size. I expect that I am going to be doing, for my outside row, probably 6. It's gonna be 5 or 6. So we're gonna see how many I do. There's 6 sections on this, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So once I start attaching them, we'll see how many you need to cut for the outside. So I'm gonna plan on 5. So I'm gonna cut 30, and then I'll see if that's enough. But I'm thinking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 is probably good. So 5 times 6, that's 30. Yeah, okay, should be good. This comes in a roll usually, so this is 10 inches wide by 10 yards long. And what I'm going to be doing is cutting my piece in squares, which means, because it's 10 inches wide, I'm gonna be doing 10-inch segments. So what I have here is just an old piece of a marble top that came with a piece of furniture that I didn't use. So I'm using it. You could take a piece of glass to cut on. You could take wood to cut on. You don't want to cut on something that's plastic. You don't want to cut right on paper if you're using the wood burner, because it's going to burn it, right? And you certainly don't want plastic where you're going to be melting this into your plastic. So if you've got an old piece of glass, countertop or something like that, that works great. This works fine. Now what I did do was, I don't know if you guys can see, I've got this little black line here, and I have measured from that line out to here, you can see this black line, 10 inches, just so that I can, let me just make sure that I haven't messed that up. Nope, that's good. Just so that I can kind of lay this out quickly to be able to do my cuts, right? And to use the wood burner, I just have to see if I've left it going long enough. you're just gonna run this down kind of between those mesh strands. And it's done. So much easier than scissors, guys. So I'll put a link to this. I just got it from Amazon, super cheap, because I didn't buy a really fancy dancy wood burner because I really didn't think I was gonna be using it for much other than this. So I didn't buy one with tons of attachments, tons of different tools. I mean, this came with a couple of blades. I'm just using, can you see there against the peanuts, the little chisel tip. And that works perfect, that works great, and it's more than enough. So to get started, you're just gonna wanna cut your mesh. Now, I'm just gonna do a couple of pieces here and then show you how I'm going to attach them. Normally what I would do, certainly for me, I'm gonna cut all of them for the first row and attach them, and then cut what I need for the next row and attach them. But if I get these three, I'll show you how to attach them, and then I'm just gonna cut the rest off screen, and there's only a limit to how many times you want to see me do that. Although, that's kind of really kind of nice and very soothing to watch. All right, so to attach these, you could take pipe cleaners. Pipe cleaners work fine. You can cut them up into the size that you need. So again, from the dollar store, you can get zip ties from the dollar store. I get this huge big bag of like 1,000 from Amazon, but you can buy them from the dollar store too. So don't agonize over this. Now, for my outer row, I'm going to attach to, if you look at this is 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to attach it to 3. I'm not going to attach it to the 4th one just because I like using that as a bit of a brace for that outside row. So if it was here, they'd have a tendency to flip in and I'd have to be constantly pushing them out. Obviously not when they're against the wall, then they're fine. But this way, if I use this row, one in, it's still gonna give me 3 rows. It's still gonna be it's gonna be very full, but it's going to allow those first petals to lie against this and use this as a brace to keep them all splayed out nice, if that makes sense. So for these petals, I'm not looking to do anything super wild or crazy because I think the colors are sort of wild and crazy. So I'm gonna take that top, fold it in toward the middle, take the bottom, fold it in toward the middle, and then I'm going to take my fingers and just slowly pinch the mesh together, going up where those 2 points met. So I get this kind of pointy-ended, bow tie. And then I'm going to pinch them over one another. So I've got the curved side facing down, and I am going to attach them. And my first ones, I like to attach to, when I'm attaching it to this row, I like to attach them to the cross brace. Just, it kind of anchors it nicely, right? So I'm gonna take my zip tie and I'm going to lay it across. And I'm just gonna pull it tight. And that's it. Now, normally what I'll do is I will do this so that they actually face down in, okay? So you can do it facing up and then turn them down so that the little knob part is facing down. Ultimately, we're gonna be cutting that off, that little extra piece off, so it cleans up the look, but that's our first petal. So we're gonna do that again. And notice that when I put this down, I'm putting that seam, the uncut edge up and down, right? And then just do that little quarter turn so that I pull those 2 edges together. But what it means then is that my cut side is here and here. And then I'm just going to twist, lay them down on top of one another. Now, what you're going to find is that when you do your twist ties, you're gonna kind of go, when you do it, it's either gonna be angled from left, top left to bottom right, or it's gonna be angled top right to bottom left. I like to alternate because then it just gets the petals kind of overall sitting nice and straight when you kind of alternate them that way. Seems like a small point, but it actually just helps them lay better, if that makes sense. Yep, okay, I thought I had that backward, but no. So I'll do these next two that I have in alternate directions so that I can show you. Let me just leave. There we go. I'll do this guy quick. So you can see that this actually does up very fast. So I'm just top to the middle, bottom to the middle. Just kind of walk your fingers up. So you've got it squished together, fold one side over the other, squish that point together, and you're ready to go. Now, if you're using pipe cleaners for this, just make sure that you get a pipe cleaner color that's going to work with your project, all right? Just in case you see little pieces of it. All right, so let me turn these out of my way here. And then I'll see if I can show you. So if you see that these both angle different directions, that's all we're talking about. And I'm looking at this now. Remember I was saying I wasn't sure if I'd need 5 or maybe 6. So I'm looking at these 3. I think I'm gonna need 6 per section. So if you look at how full that section is, that's 3 already. And then we're about halfway, so it's gonna be 6 per section, so I'm gonna need 36 times 10 inches. There's 10 yards. 3 feet, oh Lord. Okay, I'm getting a calculator and seeing if I have enough. If not, then I'm gonna start fudging this. But I might just make it. I may have to squish 1 or 2 with 5 in it. But we're just gonna carry on the whole way doing that color. My next row is going to be just that purple in the center. So, so it's just gonna be really nice and light and springy and Eastery looking, and it's gonna be so pretty. So I'm just gonna cut these little tabs off, and I am going to carry on. I have the entire outside of this done, but I wanted to share a couple of things. Because I only had, oh, there you can see it all, look. So because I only had 1 roll of this, if I had done 6 in each section, six of these in each of the 6 sections, I would have needed 36 of my 10-inch squares. 1 roll does not give you 36. It gives you 33 for sure, possibly 34, but that last one is folded over because it's stapled into the tube, into the roll that it's on. So what I did find was, because of that, for this size wreath, in order to be able to accommodate only having 5 in each, I did go back and ensure that I did not alternate the direction. So if you notice, these all spiral around one direction only, and it filled it in better than if I went left, right. Left, right would have been perfect if I'd had 36. For 30, this ended up being perfect. So you can see that spiraling happening. This next row, we are going to be doing in straight purple. We're going to do it exactly the same way. So, you know, taking our solid seams at the top and bottom, turning it slightly, folding the top and bottom in, climbing them up, turning our 2 petals on top of each other. And now we're going to go into the row just below this one. So the second from the inside. And in essence, we're going to start putting this almost kind of in between each of those ones that we've already done. So we're doing exactly the same way. And now I'm looking, going, which direction am I doing this? And I do want them, because I spiraled those other ones, I want these ones in essence sort of spiraling too. I want them to kind of move in the same direction. Otherwise, I just think it'll look off without people understanding why it looks off. So I am just going to be attaching that in, and you can see how that purple just automatically starts to soften out this kind of unicorny look, right? Which is very pretty, but now we're adding in a little bit of that soft kind of mauvey kind of color on top. And we're just going to go and do exactly the same thing all the way around. So no magic to it. Once you've got that first row done, doing the second row, the next row is no big deal. We're just going to be going in between. So I have 30 on the outside. I will see how many I have to do on the inside. So I have not cut the full roll because I don't want to have extras cut, because I can maybe do something with this if it's left open. So I'm leaving that as it is, and I'll use up what I've got, and then I'll have an idea of how many I need as I go around and do this. But as much as I had 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, I'll probably still need the full 30. I think I'll use the same number, even though it's on the inside, and just get a nice full second row. All right, I'll confirm that when I come back to you, but I'm just gonna carry on making my petals and attaching them into the wreath and laying them on top of each other. So that's the other thing that I did, was I always made sure that these were kind of stacked, one on top of each other, moving in the same direction. Right? So you just kind of carry on doing exactly the same thing. Okay. This is our wreath now. So you can see these rainbow pieces are just kind of out. We've got the center with the purple. We have one more row in the center to go, that inside row. A couple of things to think about. You know, I've done a number of these wreaths. There's videos I'll put in the link for you to be able to catch. Some of them I've added like a mesh center so that I have been able to add, I added bells and I added Christmas balls, and I've done ribbon, and I've done yarn coming through. So there's all kinds of things that you can do. This one I'm leaving open because I did get, let me dig it out here. I did get this sign from the dollar store. I'm just using the Happy Easter. I'm gonna get rid of this, and I'm gonna figure out how to attach them still to come. So I am gonna be putting that across here, and I do have some eggs, and I got a bunny. I mean, we'll see which way we go. I don't know yet. But one of the things that you have to bear in mind is if I did another row, just like I have done, then I'll have all these kind of nubs showing. And really, they're not attractive. You have to find a way to cover them up. If I was doing something else in the center, those things would hide them all. So what I am going to do is, because I'm using another kind of striped, it's a little bit different than the one on the outside, but what I'm looking at doing is rolling it differently so that it will mask these and we won't see it. So let me show you what I mean. I'm going to, beforehand we were taking corner to corner and scooching up. This time I'm gonna have the seamed edges, so the ones that I didn't cut, top and bottom, that I'm going to roll. Let me move this out of the way and show you. Oh, everything sticks to this. So, okay, so I'm going to roll a little bit up and roll a little bit down. So those two cut edges kind of meet in the center halfway, all right? And then I'm going to squish in the middle and turn it up. So that in essence, now I'm going to take my zip tie and it's gonna go in the middle so that when I attach it onto my wire, this is gonna sit up. So you're not going to see my attachment onto the wire, and it's going to also hide those, what I'm now affectionately calling those little nubs. So we're just going to take that down. Oops, and I released. Just get that again. There we go. And I'm just going to be tightening it up and adding them in here. And then I'm going to keep going around. Now it's going to want to flop into the center, and that's okay until I get the other pieces that I'm adding in there. But it's going to kind of poof out there, and you can see that it effectively hides those little nubbins. You're not going to see any of that wire in there, and it's just a nice way of kind of using the mesh in a different way that's just going to create another kind of textural look to this, and that's going to serve to kind of hide what we're doing. So I'm going to continue to add these in and do a little thinking about my boards and how I want to attach them and what else I might want to add in, and then I'll come back. The nice thing about these two is that you can kind of slide them up against each other however you end up wanting, but you can see already that it's just going to be kind of a nice little poofing in there. So I'll come back for the next section. Okay, what I have done, these each had rope leading through them, and I pulled the rope out and I put twist ties through the little staples that were in the back with the hopes that I can use those use those twist ties to be able to attach it down into my wreath. I'm not sure if they're long enough or not. So I'm going to try it with the zip ties. Let me see, twist ties. I'm going to try it with the zip ties, but if that doesn't work, then I will cut some floral wire so that it's longer, and we'll see how that goes. See that it's nice and full in the center with all of our little curlicues. I just need to be up a little higher So let's bring you down so you can actually see what I'm doing then. Okay, let's maybe try and get one attached and see what we think. I'm just so obviously when we're attaching this, we don't want to tighten them up a crazy amount, because then our sign will end up being tucked in. We just want it to be attached somewhere, somehow. So me gonna weed through here, and this one's gonna come up through this bar. All right, whoops, let's see how that goes. Now that I've got the signs down, I am kind of debating about adding the little bunny in on the side. I'm kind of thinking he's cute. I don't want to cover up the sign entirely, but I think he kind of, you know, just adds a little joy down in there. So I'm just looking at how best to be able to attach him. And I'm thinking it might make sense, there's the scissors, to maybe cut a little hole. This bunny's from the dollar store as well. So I'm just looking at maybe cutting a hole through the bunny and running a zip tie through him and anchoring him down into the side. As a starter. Okay, so maybe that's all he needs. I was going to be attaching other places, but let me turn this back up and we'll see. I think he kind of sits in there okay. And I think that we see enough of the sign. So kind of a fun little way of doing this. I mean, just kind of zhuzhed it up with the colors that worked with it, just from dollar store embellishments. You've spent enough already on the mesh, so It's kind of a perfect way to go. And just kind of a nice, cute, fun little Easter wreath. Let me know what you think, guys. I hope that this was kind of just another fun, different little alternative to some of the other mesh wreaths that I've done for you. If you haven't checked them out, go back and do that. We're kind of working our way through the calendar because I think I started in fall. So we're working through different color schemes and different ideas for you. You've got a lot of flexibility with the mesh. So I hope you give something like this a try. And if you do, let me know what you think. But I'm kind of loving it. It's just kind of cute and kind of a little fun and definitely a little pastel-y and Eastery. So it's a cute one. I'm looking forward to seeing you on the next one. And until then, take care.